Good morning.
Show me the money, LeVette. We want some.
It's Aaron Fest.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with Matt
First of
Snyder.
all, Jimi Hendrix is the 27 Club. Hank Williams was 29, but Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, they were 27.
Okay, we need to fix that. All right,
Yeah.
we'll look it up.
Aaron's
But yeah, I
29.
know, I
That's
screwed up
Aaron's
yesterday.
29.
I know
okay,
I did.
so let's start
I
with
set a precedent yesterday. I know I did.
Yeah, you did.
let's start with Matt Snyder and Crawfest and a $20,000 gift interest-free loan. Let's start there. The unanimous vote 7-0, and it was
A
amendment
unanimous vote.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
there was a part of me that was hoping that maybe we'd have some more discussion about it. You know, like maybe we're going to talk about this and see like how everyone else is feeling about it. But they were just like, okay, let's do it.
Well, let's start here. What does Mr. Snyder get from the city? Is it 20 cash? Is it 20 in services?
He's getting in kind. This is services. It's services and materials that we already have, like the tables and stuff and the barricades that maybe he could be renting from us. This is not a cash deal, but there would be a hard cost for those materials. And then there's the staff, and which is the public safety and FAR.
So basically,
that
at
would be
the
out
end
for
of the
the
day, after he pays for everything up front, he tells the city what his net was, and if it's less than 20 grand, you write him a check for 15. Do I understand that correctly?
No.
Well, he'll just keep getting those goods and stuff. We're not giving him anything.
They're not giving
We're
him
giving any
cash.
cash.
At any point.
He would have
there's no-
gotten,
it's all
he
services.
would have gotten those services for free.
He's getting
But,
police officers. Instead of him paying for the police, the city's going to pay
He'll be
it.
getting it for free. That's right.
Right.
And
So pardon me, then there's a bit of misinformation about this that's going around, right?
No.
So nobody at any point has said, we're writing this guy a check at the end of the day. No,
Last year he paid for police.
right.
This year he won't.
So where is
Correct.
20 grand coming in? Where's
That's
50?
how much the city spends. That's how much the city spends on this festival for police, for SPAR, for tables and chairs, for the time it takes to set all that up.
But weren't
all that.
let's clarify all this now, because there's a whole bunch of people in a lot of different directions talking about different things. Last year for Crawfest, did the city give Matt Snyder anything in services or
Nope.
money?
we did not.
He paid, correct?
Correct.
And nothing
Okay.
came out of the city's pocket.
Nothing.
Right.
This year, what will the city do for him?
She just did all that.
Well, let's repeat it.
OMG.
Good God.
All right. I feel like, you know what? This is the day. Like, I thought this is the day that y'all finally decide y'all have had enough of me. And this is the treatment
I don't really
No.
need you to repeat it because
point-
that's just Robert can go back and listen.
point I'm
I
making
want to know.
is-
I want to know. Here's the problem, LeVette. We have Geeked Con, fifth year. We're struggling. We
Greg
now
Adams has already written to me
need
about this.
help. We now
But
need
here's
help.
The thing. I want you to remember what I said yesterday in the meeting, that this is happening right now, but expect legislation that creates consistency and legitimacy for how we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be expecting a certain return on investment for any partnering we do that is like this, either like most likely to the benefit to the city. But where this whole thing started with Matt Snyder was after some conversations and then his presentation at the meeting, I got a text from a friend who I respect that's fairly conservative that said, well, why don't we invest in 20% and then we get 20% of the profit? And so I went back to legal and asked, well, can we do that? It's like, if we're taking on 20% of the risk, then we should get 20% of the reward. Because, this is someone that lives in the neighborhood, likes the festival, and wants to, doesn't want us to completely, throw them under the bus, which would have been fine with me, but I thought about it. Here's an opportunity to actually compromise on something. I went to legal, and they told me that because of the alcohol sales in this, it might not be something that we can do outright in that capacity because of state laws. So they said, but what if we say that on their net across the board, we can get them to reimburse for the services after the fact? And so that's what we're trying to entertain. But what if we did do this thing where if we're working with a for-profit and we make an investment in their festival, we got some of the profit back?
Mm-hmm. We'd
Like,
be
what if we
we'd
did
be
do
fine
that?
with that. I mean, you
Because that's where I'm going with this.
well, the problem is I want to know how this ever came up that there would be city money, did SPAR go to Matt Snyder and say we can help you with this?
No. Matt Snyder went to SPAR, and he has been really vocal that this was set up, that this was drafted by SPAR. But I'll say this: we've never done this before, and I believe that the personnel he worked with were doing their best to be amenable to something. Because at the end of the day, the buck doesn't stop with SPAR making a proposal; it stops with the city council.
Okay,
they can propose anything.
There's other events like this. Let's talk about the fireworks on the riverfront. Do you guys get a check back from the organizer of that event if they make a certain profit?
They're not making money there. It really is one of these things where I think that the money that comes in is from sponsors to KTBS so that they can put the thing on, and we get the airtime. Like, we are getting the exposure, which in turn brings more people out for future events. And people also, it's promoted through Channel 3, and that brings the people out. And it's like we're getting a trade on, like, that media package. So that's the benefit to the city, is marketing for an event that we're helping put on that we wouldn't ordinarily be able to afford to, like, promote in that way.
Well, you can bet KTBS is not doing it for free. They're making money on that event.
They're getting sponsorships to cover it, and they're also it helps their ratings, and it helps their goodwill in the community.
Sure, but the problem is you're going to have so many other events now.
I know. Do you think the mayor? Do you think the mayor overstepped, or do you think it was okay that he basically said, "Yeah, it's okay if you ask us for deals like this"?
I need to meditate a little longer on that because I don't want to come out completely unfiltered about that yet.
Okay, can we talk trash real quick?
Okay.
I know this is going to make your head explode like it does mine. You guys have done nothing. You have spent 2 months fighting over this, and we're still at the same place we were.
Well, you heard what I said yesterday. I moved my neck. I try not to do that.
I got that.
So what happens? What happens next? In a couple of weeks, you come back, and you're in the same place you were at 3 o'clock yesterday when the meeting started. So
no, we'll most likely have some committee meetings in between and some emails. Some conversations will probably happen, and there should probably be a substitute proposal in place of the $7.
Higher? Lower?
And it'll probably be higher, because the thing that we've all been insisting on is that if anything is going to pass, there has to be the enterprise fund. And for me, if anything is going to pass, it has to also have the opportunity for people that absolutely can't afford it to be able to use a program that allows them some waiver or some help. And that program already exists.
Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea what that cost at the end of the day is going to be? Because I think right now with water subsidies, it's around what, $200,000 a year, I think is the number.
Say that again. I'm not catching you.
In other words, if you're going to do trash subsidies, do you have any idea right now what that cost to the city will be, i.e. the added cost to the taxpayers, the people that pay the water bills? There is already
that $500,000 is set aside for that program, and that it's not being completely utilized now. No. And there might be an opportunity to add a little bit more to it.
LeVette
Fuller, I don't have
a
hard number.
LeVette Fuller, I am in my frustrated canoe right now. You guys are now 3 months in. Can you point to anything this council has done for our city yet?
We've put on a good floor show.
That's not what I'm paying you for.
I know. I think if anything, we've at least created some legislation that will provide more consistency and transparency moving forward. I feel like we've been playing a lot of whack-a-mole. We've been kind of reactionary.
You know what?
And I feel like the mole.
Miss LeVette, let me jump in and be on the council side for a second. I told Aaron, as far as this whole garbage feed debate goes, we have a front row seat to see democracy in action. And if you want to watch sausage being made, that's what we're seeing. And the reason that to Aaron it seems so frustrating and why she's at the end of her rope is because it's a difficult process in coming to an agreement, to coming to a compromise, and that's where you are. And honestly,
there's no willingness to put all the information on the table.
And I'm not going to fault. I'm not going to fault you guys for that.
She's got a good point. You got a good point, LeVette.
Like, the conversations I keep having on this are always going to be the whole picture. What we're talking, like the different pieces that we're talking about, the different things that we're trying to cover, and trying to make the right decision and actually regain trust from the community. And you say, what have we done? We've been creating legislation that's reacting to things that are happening out of the executive branch, you know? And honestly, when you're playing whack-a-mole on that kind of stuff, it doesn't leave as much time for doing anything that might be proactive.
Gotcha. LeVette Fuller.
I think I just said a lot right there.
Yeah, you did. You did. I hope you'll join us in studio one day. We can relax a little bit more, maybe break out some wine.
No, I'm not drinking wine at 8 o'clock in the morning with you.
Okay, I'll drink yours. LeVette Fuller, Shreveport City Councilwoman, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Miss LeVette. Great talking to you as always.